Howdy y'all, I'm Matthew. I currently live in Northwest Kansas, and I thought I'd make a video sharing some of my thoughts on some alternative heat sources. Just a quick rundown of the heat sources I'm going to talk about is the Terracotta Pot Heater, alcohol stove, hot hands, and a vegetable shortening candle. I want to get through this video really fast because if the power is off and you're watching this on your cell phone, you don't want to spend a whole lot of time watching a 20-minute video, right? So this is going to be very fast, very basic. Let's just get through it. For years, I have been asked to do a video on a terracotta pot heater, and strangely enough, I have not been able to find terracotta pots in my area for years, literally years. It is the strangest thing. However, beginning of February here of 2021, I was walking through my local Ace hardware store, and lo and behold, they had tons of terracotta pots. So I bought a couple, and I made a little terracotta pot heater with some tea light candles under it. And the short version of that is it does work. It does not heat your house, but it is a great heater to put your hands around, huddle around. If you can get a small room, like a little utility room or your bathroom or something, where you can barricade yourself in and have a very small area to heat, I think it would actually keep one of those small rooms warm. When I did this test, it was about 14 degrees outside, so it wasn't super cold, especially considering the day before was a negative 19 degrees Fahrenheit here in Kansas. So the 14-degree day didn't really feel that cold, but it was maintaining my little utility room that I put it in. So, I mean, that's something, right? And like I said, it felt really nice just to huddle up around the thing. There's lots of instructions on how to build those out there on the internet. And on my alternative heating search, I found something that I think is really, really neat. It is the vegetable shortening candle. You know, like Crisco would be the name brand most people are probably familiar with. This is amazing. I'm completely blown away that I've never known about this. I've learned a lot of my, what maybe you want to call old school technology from my grandma. My grandma was born in 1916, so she definitely knew some very old ways of doing stuff, and she never once mentioned the Crisco candle to me, which I find interesting. This is super easy and it works great. All you gotta do is buy yourself a can of solid vegetable shortening like Crisco or whatever store brand, the cheaper stuff. Put it in a little jar, shove a birthday candle down in there, and boom, you have a candle that lasts an insane amount of time. I let this candle burn for 2 hours and you can hardly even tell it's been burned. Not a huge amount of heat for this little tiny jar, but this is a great light source for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. And another suggestion I did see for a little more heat is to go ahead and just use the big 3-pound can of your vegetable shortening and stick multiple candles down it. Like maybe some bigger diameter candles or those 8-hour emergency candles, stick several of those in it, and then you'd have a really good heat source as well. You can also do this to make candles for your terracotta pot heater, right? Also, I want to throw out there that, did you notice on the Crisco label, the I in Crisco is a candle? Yeah, I found that interesting too, because Crisco was originally made as a candle material. The reason I really like this one is I feel like a lot of people have Crisco or some solid vegetable shortening sitting around in their house already. You probably got some birthday candles sitting around. All you need to do is find a jar, fill it up, shove your birthday candle down in there, you're good to go. You can also do that method with cooking oil, the liquid stuff, your vegetable oil. I played around with that a little bit and I found it a whole lot more fiddly and not quite as easy to use. Another heat source that I do want to mention real quick, I think is pretty clean burning, and you probably don't have to worry about carbon monoxide poisoning near as much. I don't know, as a disclaimer, I'm going to say don't use it inside, but I think you can. And that is the alcohol stove. Alcohol is very clean burning. There's instructions on how to make these little stoves online. However, I gotta say, in this day and age with COVID-19 and all that, finding alcohol is kind of a difficult task, am I right? So not sure about that. I know people that use like heat, which is a fuel treatment, that kind of stuff, but I don't know if there's other chemicals in that or if that stuff is just pure alcohol, and it's a lot more expensive. Now, of course, you can use your favorite whiskey like Jack Daniels or whatever, but they're again very expensive. In my mind, this is something that's very easy to keep around. If and when you can find these, you buy a few of these bottles, have them around. then when you have an emergency, you got them. And of course, you know, you got your propane or butane camping stoves and lanterns and stuff like that. Great stuff to use, you know, for emergency cooking. The lanterns give off quite a bit of heat, so there's definitely that. However, once again, in a time of emergency, good luck finding these propane or butane canisters to keep your stove going. You know what I mean? Something else that is definitely worth mentioning, and that is make sure you have a whole bunch of these hand warmers stockpiled in the fall. And that's the important thing with all of this. You really need to make sure in the fall you go through your entire inventory and make sure you have this stuff and make sure you're ready in case this happens. And of course, you know, having something to recharge your cell phone is definitely highly recommended. So I'm going to throw this in here real quick and talk about it, even though it's not an alternative heat source. But I am very happy with these Motorola emergency radios. They have a hand crank on them to recharge them. Yes, it takes an eternity to hand crank one of these things, but hey, it keeps you warm, right? So I guess in a way it is an alternative heat source. Haha. So yes, I use this a lot for keeping cell phones charged and, you know, other devices, whatever. And of course, they have a flashlight on them, a radio on them. There is a little solar panel on them, but that solar panel does take an eternity to recharge. But, you know, if you got all day to recharge it, it's fine. I did a whole video on USB charging stuff and making a USB backup system. So go find that. Thank you everybody for all the views in the last few weeks. I really appreciate it. So I've got a lot more videos to come, so be sure to subscribe. See y'all. And what is wrong with Zoe? Oh, is there a squirrel or chipmunk or something over there? Is that what you want? You can't get to the chipmunk? Can you not get to the chipmunk? Aw, that's what you're on point about too, huh, Dakota? Yeah, something in the tree over there. I didn't see it exactly, but can't get to it and go play with it.